A warm welcome to you to this Sundays with Spirit. I'm Kiran J, and it's my great pleasure to be your host today. I'm feeling a spirit inspiration for a holding of this entire gathering, a backdrop, a rhythm to invite us all into and keep returning to throughout the service. And this rhythm is a receiving and a sharing of peace. Receiving peace from Spirit, sharing peace with each other. Receiving peace, sharing peace. Breathing in peace, breathing out peace. So as we gather, it would be lovely if you put in the chat where you're joining from and what you might like to contribute. What spiritual quality might you bring to this service, arising out of a receiving of peace and a sharing of peace? So settling in, just giving a moment for people to arrive. Allowing peace to be in our minds. Receiving peace. Sharing peace. And out of this peace will come all the contributions today. And we're going to start with our prayer person. I'm very happy to be in such safe hands. Angela is our pilot and also leading us in prayer today. Angela is a member of the Power of Love Ministry staff. She's a certified spiritual counselor, a frequent, highly experienced pilot, and currently a member of the prayer practitioner program, a participant. So I'm very happy, out of this piece, Angela, to invite you in to lead us in prayer.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. So let's just stay right here in this warm energy. If you'd like to place your hand on your heart and close your eyes. Just letting this peaceful energy flow through us. Just giving thanks, so thankful to be able to ground into our hearts before we begin today. So grateful for this heart-centered gathering, this place of inspiration and remembrance. So grateful for you stepping forward, Kiran J, and leading us and bringing this amazing reservoir of peace that you are to all of us and holding this beautiful gathering in this energy. We know and we trust that Spirit's in charge. Spirit is the the life force moving through all of us. We're so grateful for Elena's courage to come forward and to share from her heart, to share her life, her inspiration, and what she feels guided to say today. We know she's in good hands. We're so blessed to have her. We're grateful for Omiyomi stepping up again and coming to us with her powerful, grounded musical offerings. And once again, we know Spirit is infusing all that she is offering. And we're thankful for all the participants to come here and to create our circle a little bit bigger, bringing your warm energy, bringing your beautiful spirit. And we are blessing the conversations you will have together and all the insights that are just for you to receive today. And so again, we just feel blessed to be creating this gathering and to be giving and receiving this beautiful healing energy. So we let it be, we receive it with so much gratitude, and we go forth to beam it out. And so we know it will be this way, and it's done. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, thank you, Angela. Very, very beautiful. Receiving peace, sharing peace, receiving peace from Spirit, sharing peace with each other. Peace is our rhythm. Peace is our backdrop. I can't see Omiyomi. Angela, can you see Omiyomi?
No, I've been informed we had her and we lost her.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes. And so we're working on, can we get her back? And does she need our help? Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the behind the scenes work that you're doing. So in this piece, let us flow straight to the speaker and hope that Omiyomi will join us and we will catch up on her musical contributions. So I would like to introduce Elena. Elena is a working mother of 3 beautiful children. Through Elena's use of prayer and spiritual tools, the family has gone from being a hot mess, I absolutely love that, to a solid family, growing, playing, and learning together with love as their guiding principle. In the Power of Love Spiritual Counseling Certification Program, Elena has been counseling and supporting parents for several years. And these workshops that empower parents who feel like they're failing. What absolutely fabulous work is that? So in peace, Elena, we welcome you and offer you this space to share your message.
Thank you very much, Karen J, for this introduction. I'm very, very, very honored to be here. My heart is full of gratitude for this community, for this opportunity to speak and share my message. So I would like to share with you the story of my family and the healing that happened in my family over several generations. My family of origin has a very interesting story running. I would even call it a programming or even a spell running in my family through 4 generations. So what happened in the past was that since 3 generations, women in my family marry have a first child, it is always a girl. And after having this child, they somehow, the man, their husband, disappears from their lives. Or even call it gets eliminated one way or another, not killed, but really eliminated, because girls in my family were growing up for 3 generations without a father. All of this started with my great-grandmother. The story of my great-grandmother was a story of a Cinderella. She was 5 years old when she lost her mother. Her mother passed away to illness. She had an illness and she passed away. Her father, so my great-grandfather, married again, and the stepmother of my great-grandmother had already one child, a boy. And unfortunately, this stepmother was not kind to my great-grandmother. She treated her like a servant, made her, for example, go into the forest in the morning very early to pick up berries for her so that she could have berries for her tea. So all of the stories I remember from my grandmother telling me this. So this Cinderella, let's call her this way, because the story is very similar to this fairy tale. She married and she had with her husband, so my great-grandfather, 4 children. Her first child was my grandmother. And my great-grandfather passed away quite early, so that my great-grandmother stayed alone with 4 children. So this was the first generation. My grandmother grew up without a father. My grandmother goes to study and she marries, and my mother is born. 2 years later, my grandmother takes my mother with her and leaves my grandfather. We never heard of him anymore, and we don't know why. She never talked about him, and somehow it was just an empty place in our lives, in the life of my mother. So my mother grew up without even meeting or knowing her father, my grandfather. She met him for the first time when she was already 20 years old. Next generation, it's me. So my mother marries, and 1 year later, I am born. 8 months later, I was 8 months old. My mother takes me and goes away from my father. She leaves my father and she comes back to the house of her grandmother, of my grandmother, of her mother. So this is already 3rd generation. And you see, it becomes shorter. My great-grandmother had 4 children and stayed for a little bit with her husband. My grandmother stayed only for 2 years, and my mother only 8 months. Growing up in a family like that, for me, I didn't have an unhappy childhood. I cannot say it. But I always asked myself this question: why all of my friends have this man in their lives? They go to pick they go to pick them up from school. They're present in their first school day. They receive, my friends were preparing presents for the Father's Day. And for me, it was just an empty place. And I also knew that my mother didn't have a father as well. So I started asking myself these questions very early. What happens? Why don't I have a father? You know, it's very difficult to understand this. I was confused. First, I didn't even understand the concept of a father, but I was very curious to understand this. And when I finally realized that almost all of my friends had a father and I didn't have, I started to ask myself the next question: why don't I have a father? Like everyone else seemed to have one and I don't have. So I made a conclusion. You know, children make these conclusions. I decided that I didn't have a father because something was wrong with me. My father must have left us because something was wrong with me. See, nobody ever explained to me what happened, and I still really don't know what happened and why my mother left my father. And so as a child, I made this decision. Something is very badly wrong with me. So I decided to be such a perfect girl. I decided to be so good at everything and to please everyone so that everyone would love me, because I had to compensate for this belief something was wrong with me. So what I did, I was the best in my class at school. I was always polite. I was always a good girl. You know, I learned very well to please. I always knew what would please my mother, what would please my grandmother, and I always did it the way to please them. And I sacrificed a lot in order to please them. So this is another pattern. So I learned that I decided that something was wrong with me, and I had to compensate it with pleasing others. So also very early on the basis of those decisions, I decided that I will have a real family. Because I had to prove myself that nothing was wrong with me, it is very hard to live with this belief something is wrong with me. So I decided that I would marry and I would have at least 2 children, and my children will grow up with a father. This was my decision. This was my commitment. And I was so committed to this. I didn't even know what I wanted to do professionally in my life. I was not sure about it. But one thing I was sure about is that I was going to marry, have children, and my children would have a father. With this decision, I was very careful choosing my life partner. All of my friends already married, while I was still alone, dating some boys, but I was not sure about my choice. When I was 24 years old, I went to study in Europe. And several months later, I met a guy who was a perfect candidate to become my husband and a father for my children. He was kind, he was honest, I could trust him. And the most important, he came from a family with both parents, which made me believe that he would want to have a good, real good family. So I was very careful in choosing. So I picked this guy. So we were dating for a while, then we moved together. And after 5 years, we married. So we married, and we decided to have, 1 year later, we decided to have a child. I got pregnant, of course, with a girl. This is the way it works in my family since, as I explained, since several generations. And so I was in heaven. Finally, I had everything that I ever dreamed about. I had this guy, we had a house, and I was even pregnant with my first child, and he wanted more. So what else do we want in life? I was so happy. But don't forget about the spell. So it happened the night my daughter was born. The very moment I held this baby in my arms, I was filled with such a profound and deep love. I just looked at her beautiful, big, innocent eyes, and I could not but love her so deeply, so profoundly. And this deep, all-encompassing love somehow transformed me in a very short period of time. Suddenly, I looked at my life and I realized that I was living a lie, a big, big comedy I was playing. I just realized that I never showed myself. I never had real intimacy with my husband, real conversations from my deep heart. and in the morning, my daughter was born at 3 a.m. And in the morning of this very day, I was a different person. I was not myself anymore. It was not this girl that wanted to please and wanted to do everything just to please everyone. I was transformed by this unbelievable, deep feeling of love. It was like the first time in my life I came in touch with this beautiful feeling. It made me so happy, but it made me also so sad because of this realization that my life is a big theater, a big comedy. I was playing very well a good wife for my husband. I knew exactly what to do to please him. I knew that he liked independent women, and so I decided to make a career only to please him. And I never opened myself to him because it was a risk. I couldn't open myself towards him because I was afraid to lose him. Because if I opened myself to him, he would see that something was wrong with me and he would never want to stay with me, and I was risking to lose him. So I was hiding myself from all this time. So what happened in this night, I realized that I can impossibly live this lie anymore. And when he came the next day to visit us, I could hardly speak to him. I closed myself. So I was in a conflict. From one point of view, I knew that it was a dream, the only desire, this big desire of my life, to be married and to have children and to stay with this guy so that my children would have a father. But from another point of view, I could not stay there because it was a lie. It was a comedy. I could not do this anymore. So the days were passing. We came back home. My husband realized that I changed. And he was very confused, very perplexed. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to access me, how to find me again. And I was closed in my sadness. I was crying when people did not see me, but my eyes were red from crying so much. My dreams were destroyed. And I was realizing that I am somehow running into the same trap as my mother and as my grandmother, but I could not change it. I could not. So I called a lawyer and I decided to leave him, going the same path as my mother and my grandmother. I was so upset. It was so devastating for me. And I was feeling so bad. I decided to go to the bookstore and to buy some books for me, just to distract myself from all of this feeling of sadness and disappointment. And when I was in the bookstore, I chose around 10 books with criminal stories, just to distract myself, and some science fiction. And on my way to the cashier, when I wanted to pay for these books, on a shelf with self-help books, I noticed, I didn't even look at them, but I noticed one book which had an orange color. It was really talking to me as if it was there for me. And so I read the title. The title was Love Yourself, and it doesn't matter whom you marry. And I decided, okay, if it is my last chance, I just grabbed this book. I thought, I did not even hope, I did not believe that something can help me because I did not have the tools that time. I was not spiritual at all. I did not know anything about all of this stuff. So I grabbed the book and I go to the cashier, I pay for the books. I came back home and just out of curiosity, pure curiosity, I opened the first page of this book. The other 10 books that I bought in the store are still unopened on my shelf. I read every page, every sentence, everything spoke to me, to my heart, to my soul. I cried and the pages were wet from my tears. I read this book in 2 days. This was a story of a woman which had a similar situation. She wanted, her marriage was over, and she, doing the work on herself, doing forgiveness work, she was able to transform, truly transform her marriage into a successful and beautiful story of love. This book was so authentic, was so true. I could not but believe it. And for me, at this time, it was a message of hope. You know, I did not know how, but I received this first message. There is a chance, there is a way, you know, there must be another way, I thought. And so after having read this book, the very day I finished it, I decided to talk to my husband. I talked to him for the first time in my life. I was standing in front of him, vulnerable, raw, and authentic. I explained to him all of my worries, all of my thoughts, everything that I found that what didn't work in our marriage, how deeply I wanted to feel loved and feel love towards him. It was our first real conversation. 7 years after knowing this guy, for the first time, I really opened my heart to him and I risked everything. Even now, I remember this evening. He was holding my hand, and I finally thought, it is not over. Maybe I still have a chance to break the spell. My daughter turned 16 years this year. We are together with my husband, and we were given 2 more beautiful children, 2 boys. What a surprise! Boys are welcome in my family now. I will not lie to you. Those 16 years were not easy at all. Those of you who know me, they know how many conflicts and disagreements we had and how much we grew through this. He is my teacher, he is my friend, he is my best person in my life. Every forgiveness letter that I wrote to him or to myself in relationship to him was a breakthrough for me. He's helping me grow. I'm so grateful for this. So this is a story how I broke a spell, how I broke the spell from my family. And now I would like to share with you the lesson that I learned from it. Because years later, I was still asking myself, how came that this story was running in my family? Where was the beginning? What drove this story? And in my meditation, the answer was given to me. What I realized, what I heard is that my great-grandmother, this Cinderella, she had a grievance towards her father. The thing is that she was not very angry about her stepmother. That was a stranger who came in her family, but her father was, in her eyes, he was weak because he did not protect her. He did not step up for her. And he betrayed her. And so she kept this grievance in her heart for her whole life. And because of this, she believed, and this belief went through all of these generations, that all of the men that come to us, they are weak and they would betray us. That's why, and it was a revenge to just, so to say, get rid of them. And my message to you is this: forgive. Don't hesitate. Forgive, 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 forgive. Because those grievances that we hold in our hearts, you know, they run over generations. Your children will pay for your grievances. Don't do this. You know, it's very good to buy toys for your children, to go on holidays and on entertainment parks for your children. It's very good. But the most important thing you can do for your children, forgive, forgive. Release all of the grievances. Use all of the tools available to you. We have so many tools. Forgiveness letter, radical forgiveness, Ho'oponopono, any tool, Byron Katie's work, use them. You are the person who can be a beneficial, truly beneficial presence for all of the generations ahead. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share my message.
Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you deeply for your beautiful story, your beautiful lifting of the spell. Receiving peace, sharing peace, receiving peace from spirit, sharing peace from spirit, breathing in peace, breathing out peace, peace flowing through our mind, welcoming you all in to this rhythm of peace. And in this peace, we accept that Omi Omi is still unavailable. There's been efforts behind the scenes to find her again, but there are still technical difficulties. So it came to me, before going into the meditation, to start with a chant. You're all muted, so you can speak out loud without anybody else hearing you. Let's go into a peace chant. Let's keep it really simple. You might like to, I'm going to be saying peace in, peace out, peace flowing. And I'm going to repeat this for a few minutes. If you'd like to join me saying this, you might like to sing it. I won't trust singing over Zoom. That doesn't feel a good way to go. Or maybe you will have a different peace chant to harmonize with the one that's been spoken here. And then we'll go further into our meditation. Peace in, peace out, peace flowing. Peace in, peace out, peace flowing. Peace in, peace out, peace flowing. Peace in, peace out, peace flowing, 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 peace in, peace out, peace flowing. Peace will flow across all obstacles that we raise. Peace will flow from mind to mind. Our natural state will be there for us to welcome us when we're ready. Peace in, peace out, peace flowing. Would you like to close your eyes? And see a picture of your family in your mind. Maybe your birth family. Maybe your current family. Maybe both. As you feel it, bring a picture of your family to mind. And as you witness them, choose to be the receiver of peace, the sharer of peace. Receiving peace from spirit, sharing peace with your family, breathing peace in, breathing peace out, witnessing your family. Whatever your family history, whatever the patterns down the generations, whatever the current conflicts, Can you find it in your heart to offer peace to all members of your family? Receiving peace from Spirit, sharing peace with your family. Imagine now that they accept your offering of peace and choose to be themselves receivers of peace, sharers of peace. See the whole family come alive with the desire for peace. See each one receiving peace and sharing peace with the whole family. The whole family opening, receiving, and sharing peace. So happy and delighted to be sharing in this one purpose of coming to peace together. The conflicts, the history, the doubt, the upset cannot exist in this shared choice for peace. as darkness cannot exist in light. The peace of God is shining within all of you. It can never be otherwise in truth. Resting in the peace of God together. Only peace, all peace, always peace, everlasting peace. Receiving peace, sharing peace, receiving peace from spirit, sharing peace with each other, breathing in peace, breathing out peace. And for now, offer blessings, everlasting blessings of peace to your family, and let their picture fade from your mind. Their truth can never ever leave you, but let the picture fade for now. And slowly, slowly, would you like to open your eyes again? We are still blessing Omiomi at a distance. She is not with us physically here at the gathering. So we will go into the breakout rooms. Thanks to Angela for setting these up. And would you like to share together about what this experience has been like for you. Welcoming in peace, sharing peace. Has it brought any non-peace to the surface? And if so, do you have an intention to keep welcoming the peace and allowing the non-peace to be released? Would you like to share for a while, giving space for everybody who would like to share in your breakout rooms? And then we will come back together a little later on in the service. So Angela, if you could open the rooms, that would be beautiful. Thank you very much. There are breakout room signs in the bar at the bottom, and you also may get something on the screen. Every system is different. Okay. Receiving peace. Sharing peace. Receiving peace from spirit. Sharing peace with each other. Breathing in peace. Breathing out peace. And out of this peace, Rosalind, would you like to share with us?
I am so touched by peace in, peace out, and sharing. What a beautiful service. Everything works together just the way life does if we allow it. And it was the perfect service, even though it was not the plan. Thank you, Kiran J, for holding what Spirit gave you. Thank you, Angela, for speaking of life as it is and opening to that. And Elena, my dear friend, you knocked it out of the park with your amazing story of energy and truth. And I wonder if you know, raise your hand if you know Bert Hellinger. No, you don't. He passed away, but he was the real leader of ancestral family therapy. And would that all these generations would have known of it. But what it speaks to, the reason I bring it up, nothing else was needed. It was the perfect family for everyone to have the perfect experience. What I think of is I was trained in this, and there was one memory that stuck out. And in this therapy, strangers represent the people in your family. They don't know the history. You don't get to tell them the Cinderella story that you told us today. They know nothing. And the reason I'm telling you this memory of the training is that energy speaks louder than anything else, and we transmit it. And we now know that genetically, it's actually in the brains, and like all the things that are transmitted through generations, so are the stories. But I was a representative of a man, and all I knew was that I had 9 children. And all I knew as the representative was that I could not face them. My back was to these 9 representatives of my children. And while you're the representative, your own personality can give you thoughts, but they're not as strong as the energy. So my personality said, geez, look at the children. You've got 9 of them, look at them. And I could not turn around to these children. And wouldn't you know, that is exactly who I was representing. So a man who couldn't look at his children, I don't remember the details anymore, that whether he walked away or he just couldn't look, but he would not face his children. And so that's what I was taken back to today by your riveting story of healing and transformation. And I love that you didn't make it like a fairy tale and we lived happily ever after. There were no more follow-ups. That is life. That's the grit. That's the unfolding. It doesn't usually happen in one moment, even for those who have an enlightenment, so to speak, on a park bench. There's still some work to do of integration later. So that's always the situation of unfolding. And you're a natural speaker, Elena, and this needs to be a book. I hope you've been considering writing a book. But your daughter is now freed from this compulsion. She will have choices. And what greater love could there be? What greater peace? What greater oneness to know that she doesn't need to separate physically, and that when you speak of forgiveness, I go to oneness. It goes to that next step, that there isn't any separation and anything can be forgiven because it's not another. We are that oneness. And Kiran J took us there in this service. It's not a concept. It's an experience. And we had that experience today. And so I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind. Fantastic, fantastic to hear you share like that. Maybe I can put in here that I trained as a relationship counselor many, many years ago. And we did some studies of families and did things called genograms, which were making diagrams of family histories. And it was extraordinary how people would come together and get married without knowing much of the family history. And then when they started having trouble and started going to counseling and did things like looking at family histories and did things like genograms, you would see such resonance, such patterning in the family history. So again, it is at this level, we might say transmitted. A Course in Miracles would say it's all coming from the mind. It's the one mind. So there will be these patterns and resonances. And yes, we can change them. The difficulties, the stresses. Yeah. Angela, can we come to you? Having a little one, I don't know anything about the rest of your family, but I know you've got a little one. How is this for you?
Yeah, thank you. I want to echo that. I could really thank you for starting us out in this piece coming in and peace going out. And it's like I tuned right into that. It's like I plugged right in, and I'm in a new surrounding. I just kept finding myself being distracted by it's too hot in here, she's sleeping. But it was like you kept me and started me at this level where everything was fine. I could, and then we didn't have a musician, but just you setting that energetic tone. Wow, that was so profound. And I actually noticed it like a metaphor, how like spirits broadcasting that. And sometimes we're moving around distracted. We're not plugged into it. It's still there, but but it feels so good to have been plugged into that. And I just thank you for keeping that thread, and just, it's such a palpable, calming feeling. which, you know, I said in my prayer, I knew you were going to bring us the reservoir of peace. And that's just exactly how I experienced that. And then for today to be about Elena, who's my dear friend, my sweetest friend. And I just see you there. Like, I feel like you're broadcasting from the United Nations. Like you have this powerful, confident, and yet creative, artistic, thoughtful delivery today. And it's just so fun when you get to see your friends show up and be themselves even more fully or in another way. And then to go through this story with you, even though maybe I knew it, but let you take me from the beginning and let me see more of you and let me really be in the flow of that, you know, your tale and the spell. And just such a beautiful job you did, even just being super clear, here's my message. And my daughter, you know, and I love the part where you were like, and my daughter is 16 and she has 2 brothers. You know what I mean? Like you nailed it. I just feel really, really proud of your delivery. Was so powerful. And then to be able to have my own experiences of this giving and receiving of peace, and how I could work, you know, while I'm working behind the scenes. Ooh, can I work this peace to my family, peace coming from me? And me too. I remember having this hypnotherapy session. And to be honest, it was about removing all blocks to conceiving a child. And somebody gifted me this session, and it was a 3-hour session, and I had no idea what it was going to be like. And at one point in the session, this huge bird, like some kind of crane, flew through this, like the scene of my call, which was I was down by this stream and this huge bird flew through. And because it's 3 hours, the hypnotherapist was like, well, let me get the book on the animals and let's see what that is. That's part of your session here. Let's bring that in. And somehow or another, it did come in that for sure I was I was in the middle of experiencing something my grandmother had experienced, and it was like this carryover, and I'm ready to heal it. And so it's like I just was recalling that moment in my own journey where, you know, I'm at the end of my grandmother where she took it, and now I'm taking it somewhere. And so it's just so fantastic to be able to hear your story, to be feeling my own. And that in the end it was like forgive, and then in the end Rosalind's like we're one, and then in the end Kieran J's like peace is what we already are. So it just feels like and this is how all these, like the technicalities of the day is just, they're not even, I can't even, they're dissolved completely. And that's how I just feel that this is just always this bigger metaphor for everything, you know? So I'm just really grateful. I'm in tears now, as I always am at this point, and because my heart has been touched. And so I'll close there and just say thank you to all of you. Yeah.
Thank you, Angela. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's come again. Receiving peace, sharing peace, receiving peace from spirit, sharing peace with each other, breathing in peace, breathing out peace. Angela, how long have we got?
We have 7 minutes.
7 minutes, thank you.
Yeah.
So Elena, could we come back to you? I so agree with Angela that you nailed it, that your presentation was powerful and clear, and uh, so healing. It's so beautiful to hear of your healing. So would you like to say some more?
First thing, thank you everyone, because it was my first time speaking, and you can imagine how I was the whole day. So this message of peace in and out and flowing, it was just so good for me now, and I feel literally so grounded now, so at peace. And it was interesting when you said, Karen J, that the picture of my family was fading, but I felt it before. It started already fading, and then you said it. It truly shows us that we are all one, right? Yes. When I volunteered to speak on Sunday services, I almost immediately knew what story I wanted to share. I knew the story, but I did not know the lesson. I was like, and so you did it, but what's the message? And I was like, I had already everything prepared and what I was going to say, and still was this missing part. And I was like, I was talking to Angela, right? We had a prayer session, and then I told Angela, I said, I still don't know the message. And she said it will come. And next morning, after the conversation with Angela, I woke up with the message. I'm like, here it is. Here it is. And the funny thing that I actually talked to my mom that I was going to share this. And I said, Mom, you see, I realized why. You see, I know now. And she said, I said, we just considered all men as weak and betrayers and everything. And she said, oh, you exactly. She said, you say it. That's what I believed all my life. So this was a confirmation because, yeah, that's that the lesson that I received was the correct one, because it's intuition. I never met my grandmother. So this is what I wanted to share. Yes, and I'm really very grateful for this experience of being a speaker, overcoming my own, resistance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Elena. Rosalind, has you got something else to say?
Yes, I wanted, because we have another minute, I wanted to say that your example of not knowing the conclusion made it even more powerful, because it exemplifies that we're not the doer, we're conduits, we're the messenger. And I always know when I'm trying to think of something ahead of time, I always get the message, not yet. You don't need to know yet. When it's time, you'll learn, it'll come through you. You won't be the doer. And that's exactly what you showed us. And that's why your message, when you delivered it, was 10 times stronger than someone else who was trying to think it through and delivered, a subtle whatever. It was so powerful. I have to say it was probably the most powerful conclusions and messages laid out for us because of how it came to you. You gave it to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you, Rosalind.
Yeah. Receiving peace, sharing peace, receiving peace from spirit, sharing peace with each other, breathing in peace, breathing out peace.
Okay, I'm going to sneak in one more thing, Karen J, because Rosalind said you must write a book, and Elena, I think we already see that writing is in your future. I'm just saying, I have a behind the scenes knowing that that came through in our discussion together. So
Yeah,
very
yes,
exciting.
yes, yes, yeah. Our families, from a Course in Miracles perspective, are hotbeds of specialness. They are treasure troves of forgiveness, opportunities. It's all there for us, our nearest and dearest. And what happens within that setup? So if we can find peace, if we can see each of our family members as children of God, appearing as our parents, our children, our partners, then we are so well on the way to the full healing of our minds. Yeah. And here we have everyone back again. I hope you have had peaceful and a blessed sharing together. If you would like to put something in the chat about your experience, that would be beautiful. So for everyone now, back again, receiving peace, sharing peace, receiving peace from spirit, sharing peace with each other, breathing peace in, breathing peace out. What arises next is the announcement section of the service. So firstly, this is offered as a free gathering, which is truly beautiful and generous of the ministry, Jennifer, to do this. And paid staff are required to make it happen. And donations, tithes are given to the speaker and the musician. So if you feel inspired to offer a donation, that would be wonderful. Only if you're inspired. Does Spirit move you to do that? If so, wonderful. And I'm hoping, Angela, you will put in the chat, keep up to date with these announcements going through. Thank you very much for your support. There's an absolute wealth of healing programs offered by Jennifer at this ministry. It's really wonderful, miraculous what we can share together here through the programs in the ministry's offering. Currently, we have the Ending Self-Sabotage program, which started yesterday and continues with all kinds of meetings and gatherings and sacred circles with Jennifer. And it's not too late to sign up. So I'm trusting that will go in the chat in a minute. The Ending Self-Sabotage, Ending Self-Medication, Opening to Peace, Letting the Power of God lead the way. And there is the Parenting with Spirit program, which we're in the middle of now. And Elena is leading the class on the 25th of July. So I can only imagine that it will going to be mega powerful, mega miraculous, mega healing. all encouragement to check it out. And there's the inspirational text messages, which you can sign up for almost nothing. Yeah, and I'd like to slip in here at the end of the announcement section. Yesterday, we had our last Living A Course in Miracles from a Deeper Foundation class. It was a 4-class series, and it was so beautiful to be with the participants and lead this particular series. From October and November, I'm leading another one. This time, how to make a true choice for peace. Again, it will be on Saturdays, 10 till midday Eastern. It's not on the website yet, but it will be the 9th and 23rd of October and the 6th and 20th of November. So if this calls to you, I hope you will keep a lookout on the website for it. Yeah. So we do not have the musician to give us a third contribution. So inviting us instead into a short meditation. Would you like to close your eyes? And feel a light in the center of your forehead. You might see it or feel it. A brilliant white light. And this quiet, still, bright, white light is a magnet for peace. It calls to peace. It welcomes peace. It is completely certain that peace is what it wants to attract. And as the white light calls in the peace, simultaneously, it radiates out the peace. Peace is carried in the radiation of the light. Feel and see this white light in the center of your forehead. You might like to have an intention for this light to remain beyond the service, beyond today, part of you next week, next month, next year. And as you walk about your daily business, this light continually calls to peace and radiates out peace to all you come across, all you meet, all you have interactions with. Receiving peace, sharing peace. Elena, do you have anything coming up? Any announcements to make? I briefly mentioned your class on the 25th of July. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that, or anything else that you are doing in your work?
Yes, thank you, Karen J, for giving me this opportunity. So, yes, my class is next week. I will speak about how to heal overwhelm, more how to actually deal with overwhelm in a family. I will share with you from my own experience what I found helpful and what I found unhelpful in a situation when we experience physical, mental, emotional overwhelm with a child. So this will be my class. You're welcome to attend. I will be very happy. And I am also, as you already mentioned before, I am a spiritual counselor in training in Jennifer's certification program. So if you'd like to have a counseling with me, all data about me and the way how you can connect with me is available on Jennifer's site, on Jennifer's counselor's site. Yes. So these two things.
Thank you very much, Elena. Yeah, yes. Very beautiful to know what you offer. Angela, would you like to lead us in prayer in closing today's service?
Whew. Okay, well, we're already there. So let's just be, if you'd like to close your eyes and stay right where we've been in this beautiful energy, this healing elixir that Kieran J has given to each of us, and the inspiration that Elena has shared. We are so blessed, and I feel it. I'm sure you're feeling what I feel, which is just held in the true essence of our being, which is peace, which is light. So we're grateful that we've had this time to be together. We thank Jennifer Hadley for creating this meeting. We thank you, Kieran J, for just so beautifully guiding us and threading this theme of peace, which is that same calling that Spirit gives us each and every moment. May we go forth staying tuned into this and emitting this from our being. We're so thankful for the message of forgiveness, and that we are the ones who have chosen to be here now to heal what is ours to heal now, to allow Spirit to show us and equip us with all that's needed to dissolve all blocks to love in our families and in our minds. So we're grateful to go forth and practice and simply be this loving light that we've all come together to feel and to radiate and to increase. I feel it. So we go forth with such gratitude. We let all the healing be. And we're so deeply grateful we let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Angela, for your wonderful support here, your effort to try and connect us with Omi Omi, which was not what was needed today. It obviously was not in the divine plan, but I hope she will be invited back again at another time. So taking a moment, being present. There are some faces that you can see. There are many names that you can see. Maybe you'd like to go to the other screen as well and just notice who is here with us, sharing this holy purpose of the healing of our minds by coming together to remember we are peace. This is our truth. We are one. It's been so beautiful to be in this position today. I'm very grateful to Jennifer for inviting me to take this host role. And I will be back next week as a participant. Now I'm on the list to host again at the end of August. So it will come round again. But for now, all blessings to you.